Right, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today we are deciding and debating the greatest Premier League striker of all time.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you are following us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and please do leave us a 5-star review. It helps us more than you can imagine. Anyways, enjoy the podcast.
How we'll do this, we're going to do a bracket. We're going to be going through, giving players numbers, doing battles, and going all through it. We've given the top 16 strikers of all time a number. So Matt, choose a number between 1 and 16.
8.
I was going to pick 8.
Okay then.
Well, I did.
What's your number?
I'll go 9.
Okay, so 8 is Harry Kane. Number 9 is Jamie Vardy.
Ooh.
A battle.
It's easy.
Is it?
Yeah, Harry Kane all day. I'm a big Vardy fan. Big Vardy fan.
Depends if you want a winner.
Yeah, that's really at the end of the day what the bottom line, isn't it?
I love this narrative we run with this, by the way.
Great point. No, perfectly
If we didn't
valid
say
point.
this, we wouldn't be doing this pod of service. Like, we have to mention that. I'm upset that Vardy went up against one of the
Are you straight in on Kane?
It would be Kane if I had to pick out the two, but I do love Vardy, and I made sure to put Vardy
The
in
only
this
reason
list.
you're not straight in on Kane is because you're Arsenal.
No.
He's an Arsenal boy, I was going to say. Harry Kane is. Seen the photos of him in an Arsenal shirt?
And Vardy terrorised us for a few years, so...
Yeah, what I love about Vardy, I made sure to put him in this list, but I was hoping he wouldn't come up against one of the players like Kane, one of the real elites, because like there's a few I think that will fly through with some of these players that will get. But Vardy, for me, is criminally underrated, and I still think...
Immensely.
The fact that he's still even got 7 goals this season in the Premier League, I still think is a highlight of how good he is. The guy's a joke.
Kane's just got more to his game. He gives you more,
And
as well as being an incredibly clinical finisher.
But the big thing for Vardy as well, I think, is the amount of goals and what he's done in his career in the Premier League, scoring over 100 goals in the Premier League, being part of that club, the numbers he did for a subpar team. That Leicester team isn't like a...
They weren't subpar for a lot of the time, though.
But he's been relegated with them twice.
145 goals.
It's mental, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
It's incredible. But but I'm saying, like, Tottenham each year were pushing on top 4. Leicester, bar winning the
Kane's
title.
got quite a lot, though, hasn't
Yeah, I was
he?
going to say, yeah. Leicester...
I didn't realise it was that
Oh,
big.
yeah, it's huge.
Wow.
If Leicester only made the top 4 once, didn't they? They didn't get back in after the Premier League. They never made it back into the top 4.
No.
So, like, I look, that's what I meant when I say subpar, is he's not one of the elites. To get those kind of numbers, I think is a massive credit to Jamie Vardy.
Oh, wow.
What you getting?
No, I've just got the list of Premier League all-time goal scorers up in front of me.
Oh, we'll be going through a lot of these, don't worry.
Yeah, but just one that surprised me, and we touched on it last episode. 20th place, Raheem Sterling.
Jeez, I didn't know he was that high.
123 goals.
Mad.
Above lots of...
I was going to say there's some elite players up there, but we'll be going
or is this digressing?
no,
too
go
much?
for it. I don't mind.
He's
digressing.
above Dwight York, Ian Wright, Giggs, Scholes, Gerrard, Drogba, Ronaldo, Van Nistelrooy, Berbatov, madness.
I was about to say a lot of players that we're going to come on to.
Bergkamp,
That is mental, isn't it? I didn't realise Sterling had got that many, to be fair.
way above Torres and Tevez. 40 above Torres and Tevez.
It's mad, isn't it?
Jeez. Okay.
He had those years, though, didn't he? When he just... The way that City played, he knew he could just... As long as he arrived at the back post at the right time, he'd just get tapping after
Oh, he
tapping
was
after
inevitable
tapping.
for a
He
while,
knew
wasn't
exactly
he?
where to be. It's like a poacher. Oh, I understand where he's coming from.
There, I knew. As soon as you said coach, I was like, I see where he's got. I respect that from you.
Oh, dear.
So we're saying Kane, I'm guessing then.
No,
as
I'm
a
not.
group.
I'm saying Vardy.
Okay, you 2v1 then. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that anyway. So
I respect you for standing on business.
what I'm going to do is I'll chip in. If you can't decide as a group, I'll come in as I'll sit on the fence and I'll let you
Group.
guys.
There's 2 of us.
Pardon?
As a group. There's 2
No,
of
but I'm
us.
saying if you can't agree, yeah. Sorry, as a couple.
Pair.
As a pair.
A pair, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
No,
The gruesome twosome.
Okay, then can you pick 2 other numbers then? Between
Number
1 and
3.
6. Yep. And
What's the max number, sorry?
up to 16?
16.
Didier Drogba versus Fernando Torres.
Drogba easy.
Yeah.
I think Torres was one of the ones that made the list that kept making all the lists, but I think he's part of those ones that could easily be swapped in and out.
We often speak about his career is kind of very overrated.
Oh, I stand
Yes.
by it. I think he's
But
arguably the
take
most.
out the Spain. Obviously, Spain he was very good, but then again, such a short period of time. But in the Premier League, he gets spoke about in this bracket, and he's not there really.
I think it's mental that he gets put into these debates
Yeah,
personally. But
agreed.
I was going by all the lists because that's what I do with this. I just collate all the lists that other people have decided, and then we do our list. Because he makes a lot of people's top tens, which I think is mental.
Had 2 fantastic seasons, but
Does that make you elite? Mateta has done. Chris Wood has. The thing is with Fernando Torres for me, I was looking at his record. Only once in the Premier League do you get 20 goals in a season. Bar that, 14 and 18 is his highest. Other than that, they're all under 10 goals a season.
that's like kind of
10 plus goals.
that's average for modern standards.
I was going to say, only 3 seasons he got over 10 goals in the Premier League.
I don't think Drogba ever hit 20 in a season though. Isn't that Sarri's like go-to stat about him?
Yeah, that's true. But he at least got over 10. To do it only 3
Oh,
times.
I'm
So
de-
like, he's probably
I'm-
got a better goal scoring record than Fernando Torres.
Oh well, come on, let's be realistic.
But it probably like, the fact that literally
No, that was a silly shout.
no. But if we're talking about but getting over 10 goals a season, but this is what I mean. I don't understand. I understand it was a very short-lived high, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It just does my head in when Fernando Torres gets put in these debates. I think it's the nostalgia tax. I think that carries him quite far because everyone thinks of the blonde locks flowing through the wind, the sock tape,
the old
boots.
T90s, and
It's that narrative that gets pushed. So I'm guessing we're all going to go Drogba there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll
all
talk
day.
about Drogba more so then in the next round when he comes up in another one, just purely because I think
Well, there's a good one. Callum Wilson got more goals, Premier League goals, than Fernando Torres.
he should be in this list over him then. Silly. Right then, okay. Pick another number, 1 to 16. So far we've had Harry Kane and Drogba go through, and we've had Vardy and Fernando Torres drop out of the
4.
competition. Number 4.
14.
Oh, okay. So we've got Erling Haaland, number 4, versus Teddy Sheringham.
It's Haaland.
Yeah. It's Haaland.
That's tough on old Teddy coming up against him, but you are looking at. I mean, Salah's not a striker, so exclude him from this conversation. You are looking at one of the best
To ever do it.
out and out strikers
Yeah.
ever.
And I think
Record number of goals in a
Yeah.
Premier League season.
Yeah.
Fastest to
Every
so
record,
many
I was gonna say.
games.
I mean, he was MIA for a lot of this season as well, and still finished.
second
Second
or
or
third. I
third.
think he finished third, in the end.
Isak
Yeah.
was second.
That's
what,
it,
what
yeah.
was it? It's still
23 and 32, I think, he
Exactly.
got in the end.
which is freakish numbers,
Yeah.
Stupid, isn't it?
and I think he'll do it again next year.
He's inevitable. It's scary, isn't it? But again, it's not the most. People don't like to admit it because he's a striker that's going against what we've seen for years. This is just a goal scorer. That's what he's there to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone likes to talk about
But
what
at the
strikers
end of the
bring
day,
you,
that's
what they're there for.
that's
Yeah.
what a striker should do. Put the ball
Exactly.
in the onion bag.
Exactly.
Oh,
So yeah, Teddy Sheringham drops out then.
yeah, shame really, but
Again, he's not. Yes, he was a forward, but he was an old school number 10, wasn't he? Really?
There's a couple of players in here that could be argued they're the old school 10, but they get pushed into the striker role, don't they? When we
Yeah.
have these discussions. Okay, then 1 to 16 again.
13.
13. Yep. And Mike.
7.
Okay, so we have got Robin van Persie versus Dennis Bergkamp, another player that can be put into the. This is a horrible one.
That is
you know when we talk
vile.
about matchups that come up from this debate. These are where two big hitters come up early against each other. This is the first clash of the Titans. Now this is an interesting one from an Arsenal perspective. I'm intrigued to.
I've got to stand with Dennis.
I thought that's where you'd go.
have to,
You have to.
See, I was leaning more towards
and I
RVP.
will back it.
Talk us through it. Yeah.
I was going to say.
Both go back.
Van Persie, obviously, he was phenomenal for us. Captain for a fair few seasons, was our main man, carried us to challenging and Champions League campaigns and all that. Obviously, he went to United and got over the line, won that Premier League. And they were saying, oh yeah, he made the difference, but obviously you still have Rooney in that team, and you still had, it was still a Sir Alex Ferguson team. Dennis Bergkamp was an integral part of 3 title-winning teams, 2 double-winning teams, and an invincible team. I just think he had more influence on his teams probably than Van Persie did. Van Persie was a better goal scorer, no question.
See, I think Bergkamp's hard done by here as well, similar to Sheringham.
He's not a goal scorer.
He's not an out and out, and he was never bought to be.
No.
So this sort of debate on him is probably
It's an interesting,
slightly
it's
unfair.
like the second strikers, isn't it? These are
Yeah,
the kind of players.
yeah.
It's a weird one, isn't it? But they
Yeah,
fit
yeah.
into the striker mould, don't they?
So if you're talking importance to a team, it's Bergkamp. If you're talking out and out goal scoring ability, it's Van Persie.
This is one I really have no idea where I'd kind of sit on with this, because again, they're so different, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. It depends what.
And to be a difference maker to a team who then wins the league. I know what you're saying about Bergkamp, obviously integral to 3. But United, prior to Van Persie, never really replaced Van Nistelrooy for a few years, did they? Probably up
No,
until...
you're going a
up-
bit
up-
back then. It's...
Well, who was there in terms of an out-and-out striker, though?
Tevez, Berbatov, all before Van Persie.
See, I wouldn't have put any of them as an out-and-out
Sahar.
striker, though. Apart from Sahar, but he wasn't really up to their standard.
And do you know what I find? These two players are like both really satisfying as footballers, but both in their own right. Both really technically gifted footballers in their own right. Like we talk about ball striking and actual finishing. There aren't many like Robin Van Persie.
Both very big as well. Both over 6 foot. Quite,
Because they're
quite
the
broad,
tallest nation in the
technically good.
world.
Oh yeah, it's all Dutch affair as well, isn't it?
I don't know where I sit on with this one.
This is a hard one.
I'm really annoyed that you guys couldn't agree, because I don't know where I sit either.
I'm definitely not anti the Bergkamp shout if that helps, but I think if you're looking, remind us of the title of this debate.
It's just Premier League strikers all time. Because that's the thing. I've put it in so that I've not gone like goal scorers or anything. So then because there are strikers in this list that aren't out and out goals. You can imagine some of the other strikers that are going to be coming up in a bit that you haven't mentioned that also fall into a similar category to.
English Player of the Year when we won the league in '98.
Sorry, I was so confused then. I was
Give it-
thinking,
yeah.
he's not English,
Give-
is he? I was thinking. Sorry.
I'm
that's-
happy to concede for Bergkamp.
Okay,
Get up, Dennis.
let's go then. Okay, big hitter out early. So that is RVP out in the first round. Okay, then pick some more numbers. If you repeat a number, I'll just tell you that we've already had it. But between 1 and 16.
1.
Number 1, yep.
4,
We've had number 4.
5.
Okay. Oh my word. Okay, another huge hitter. We've got Alan Shearer versus Sergio Aguero.
Shearer!
Oh, he's just taking a glass of water. I just saw he just spat all over
that was
them.
close.
I literally I saw it. That was so good from you. Sorry, that was really good. I don't know. So see now, I'm going to go straight in early.
Aguero.
That I didn't get to see. See, I'm with you on this. That I didn't get to obviously see Shearer at the prime. And when we talk about, is it goals per minutes? Aguero has the best record. And to play as much, actually, I think Haaland might have taken over him probably. But before Haaland, I'm
He had
guessing,
that for a while.
He had that record for a long time. Before Salah recently broke the record, he had the most overseas goal scorer. I know obviously Shearer has the highest number, but if we talk about actual games, Shearer obviously played. His longevity in the Premier League was a lot longer.
See if you
Actual,
sort of in reference to
it feels horrible.
It does. It feels horrible. But if we're talking the way we just did about Bergkamp and RVP, in terms of someone being so integral,
Aguero was, yeah.
and that being a contributing factor, it's Aguero. And then you talk about, subpar teams previously. Yeah, Shearer performed unbelievably for what was subpar to probably where they should have been.
Yeah.
Or would have wanted to be. But, you're talking about one of the best strikers to ever walk the planet, let alone play in the Prem.
Yeah, and he gave us obviously huge Premier League moments as
A
well.
moment
Probably
that will
arguably-
literally live forever.
Yeah, I just think, and this sounds mental saying this, by the way. I think Aguero's underrated. I've said this before. That I don't think he's spoken about as one of the greats. When I think he is, like, you hear Michael Richards say, like, the first training session when they all thought he was absolutely awful, where he couldn't finish at all and he didn't care in training. And then, like, first game he bagged 2 in his debut, and he never stopped. Again, he was inevitable where it was just constant hat tricks. He seemed like he scored every week, and it just became normal.
Didn't he score 4 goals in the first half against Leicester?
It's
or
mental,
something
isn't it?
like that on one of the games.
You've
4
stayed
goals
very
in a
quiet.
half or something like that.
It is mental saying this to the longest goal scorer.
I'm happy to go with Aguero on the whole. I wanted to stand up for Shearer, but again, we didn't get to see the prime. But the numbers speak for themselves. But then watching Aguero, the actual footballer, he won games on his own for a number of years.
Oh,
And he's
against
saying
the
again,
Albion.
but him, it's not just the goals on the stat sheet. It was the performances. It was what he brought to the team. It was the driving them forward, bringing them out of dark moments. Yeah. It was all of that. So yeah, I'm happy to go with Aguero.
You talk about, like,
Sorry, Alan.
the amount of goals.
The first round.
Yeah.
This always happens.
Tough time never lasts.
This always happens with these. We literally spoke about this off camera. These rankings and these brackets. It's just the
Look
game.
at the catalogue of goals he scored as well. We know, like, Shearer is phenomenal in the box. Aguero, he's great in the box. Picked up tremendous positions. Scored quite a few headed goals for someone who, you know, was sort of short. But then some absolute screamers as well.
It seems I'm like
Yeah,
I'm trying to go, and I'm thinking I don't want it to sound like I'm doing a disservice to.
It doesn't sit right with
Shearer.
my patriotic self. However,
Yeah, if you're saying this, that's big in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't expect you to come out of Aguero so quickly.
Oh, I didn't either. I went to say it, and you did it for me. And I was like, "Whoa, okay, this is a."
you just can't. And again, you know, factor into the argument, Shearer is a Premier League winner as well.
And I do think you're right. It doesn't really get. Mate, I don't know if it's because
It's so recent.
and because at that time they weren't competing for Champions Leagues and Argentina weren't really competing for World Cups, that it was just his domestic form. So does that kind of take the... Because people speak about Haaland and then you go, oh, treble. Does that take away from what he did? Obviously it doesn't domestically, but yeah, he was...
But it seems like it doesn't, because he doesn't
and I think there is a bit of that. Like, you look at their careers as a whole and you kind of pit them against each other and you go, oh, well, he hasn't done that. But for that period of time, watching him in the Premier League, yeah, wow.
So Shearer out in the first round. Unlucky, mate. You might score a load of goals, but you're not getting through this.
Should have put him up against Harry Kane, really.
Well, I'll tell you now, the 6 that we've got left, we're going to have some tough battles. There are some big boys still left in this. So we've still got number 2, 6, 10, 11, 12 and 15. So take your picks.
Number 12.
Yep.
Number 10.
Okay, so we've got Defoe versus Ruud van Nistelrooy. Defoe, somebody that I'm glad...
How's Defoe got in there?
Because Defoe was part of the grouping of players that were like right on the cusp, that kept
It
making
must be.
the 16th spot, kept making the 15th spot. Because there's that list. Then you've got there was about
Where is he? Oh wow, that is a lot of goals.
Defoe's got a really good goal scoring record in the Premier League.
A lot of games though, but
Because he's got that record off the bench, hasn't he, as well, and things. But he fell into the category of as like Giroud's, your Berbatovs, your Heskey's, Crouch, like all of those players that just outside the elite level. But yeah, I thought Defoe. I'm glad he made it. So Defoe versus Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I think I've still got a lean Ruud.
What you thinking, Matt? I think.
Yeah, no, in fact, I am definitely Ruud.
What you thinking?
Longevity from Defoe. That's the only thing which is stopping me just going out and out Rude. For someone to have that ability to not only start games and you know and score, but to come off the bench and be so effective in games.
Yeah.
For such a long period of time, for a multitude of teams, it never changed. You know, it's the exact same as what Kevin Phillips used to do when he was younger and would bounce around teams.
Bingo card.
There we go. Yeah, sorry.
He always
you
gets
like that.
mentioned, doesn't
Well, he did it for what? He did it for Spurs, Sunderland, Portsmouth,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
West Ham in his
Those,
early years.
West Ham. Yeah, I think he was West Ham as well, wasn't he?
So,
Bournemouth,
yeah.
Bournemouth right at the end as well. Did you
Bournemouth at
say?
the end, yeah.
Bournemouth at the end, and I think he scored.
Oh, he was incredible at Sunderland.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
kept
yeah.
Sunderland up, didn't he, for a couple
Yeah,
of years?
exactly. So importance to a team. But
I
then-
like.
I've got a big appreciation for Defoe.
That's
obviously.
that's my logic. I'm appreciating him. I'm glad he's in the list. But I think when we talk about like finishers, like actual, like we joked about Bagsman earlier.
Yeah, so
Rudy's.
I've just got Rude's like thing because I'm on the big all-time stats, and I know it's not just all about
Yeah.
goals, but I look at this. So we had 5 seasons. That was it at Man U. One was injury-ridden, so let's sack that off.
Okay, so call it 4 then.
4 seasons, each played between 31 and 35 games. 23 goals, 25 goals, 20 goals, 21 goals.
Yeah.
And look at the teams he was
Yeah.
in. Look at what
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
competing for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel, but I'm glad we've even made this discussion because I think that's the appreciation we give to Defoe. But I think like when we talk about like natural number 9s, he's like on that level.
He's like, yeah, like the old school Haaland kind of.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, kind of like you poacher. Like,
Poacher. Well, I think both of them are really, but Van Nistelrooy was what only 1 goal of those was outside the box.
Wasn't Haaland's the only one as well when Sanchez went running and he just had to lob it over him? Do you remember? You know, because he had that stat, didn't he? And Robert Sanchez came running out because everyone was like, "That's ruined the stat," because they were hoping he was never going to score. He had like the Javier Hernandez, Chicharito did the same, didn't he? Where he never scored from outside the box. He hasn't made the list, by the way, if anyone was wondering, which is a shame.
Little P.
Chicharito.
Little P.
Little P.
So we put him. Are you agreeing with Rude as well?
Yeah. Big shouts to
Defoe.
though.
I'm glad.
Highest scorer in Soccer Aid history now as well.
Oh, if you'd have said that before, I probably would have given it him. I was going to say.
Wow.
You nearly got him twice.
I'm not doing that deliberately as well.
You literally. I was literally.
Who's he behind? Kem second.
Yeah, Kem.
And what's that act or singer, the guitarist from? He's always there, isn't he?
Not anymore. In the
Serge.
In the early years, he scored.
He's got to be like
bangers,
appearances. He's got to be up there.
He ain't played for the last couple of years though.
I'm trying to think. Maybe Tom Grennan. He's always there.
Tom Grennan's.
Has he scored?
Ollie Murs used to score a lot as well.
He's probably up there. So he's up there with some great shots.
Oh yeah, no, he's all time. What is it they say? He's in good company.
Okay, then.
But no, Rude.
The numbers we've got left are 2, 6, 11, and 15.
2.
11.
Wayne Rooney versus Andy Cole.
Rooney.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all in agreement. Appreciation.
I'm glad it wasn't Rooney Henry.
There was a chance that was going to happen earlier, and I
This
saw
really
it.
hurts me now that it's going to be Henry against Crouch.
I
I'm going to make every argument I can for
I saw it earlier. And
Henry
I thought,
Odom Wingy.
Henry, Lukaku, Albion season.
could you imagine? It's Lukaku, isn't it? No. So we all put in. We're putting him through then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Rooney enough time.
Okay then.
Always.
So the last two big hitters. We're gonna have a big boy leaving early, by the way, from this because we all know who's going to be the answer. So we've got Luis Suarez versus Thierry Henry as the final picking. We all know the answer,
Yeah.
but there's still a big boy going.
Yeah. Suarez.
Good delivery. That was really good.
I'm just looking at who you've left out this list.
So I've gone by the main lists that are online. The only player that missed out, and I think there's a narrative for this. Michael Owen missed out on a lot of the lists that I was going
Michael
through.
Owen. That's a big one.
Mike-
Fowler.
Fowler didn't again. A lot of these players, for some reason, I think a lot of them add. There's a lot of recency bias with a lot of these. that they've got.
Lukaku's
Massive.
Yeah, no Berbatov. I promise you, I have gone off doing a lot of research. I've spent a lot of time going through like Goal 442s, Lad Bible, Sports, everybody's ESPNs, all of them to kind of collate this list. I had about 25 players to choose from. JMB helped with some of the pickings as well, just to make sure I hadn't missed anybody obvious.
I'm surprised he didn't put Gabby Agbonlahor in there.
But talk about Suarez just briefly, because it's mad. Another big boy who's leaving quite early. I think the reason why his career in the Premier League is underappreciated is because we think about what he did after.
Yes.
Because I think that ruins the Liverpool kind of thing, because he just went on to another level, didn't he?
Well, does it ruin it, or does it just put it into perspective?
But I think
Does it
when
ju-
you
does it
don't
just
think
show
of
you-
him though as a Premier League player, do you don't think of his Premier League time
No,
compared
again,
to that Barca.
you look at the career and you look at the accomplishments.
It's just all Barca.
Yeah.
Golden shoes at Barca. He won one golden shoe in the at Liverpool, but he won, I think, 2 at Barcelona. It's like, again, won absolutely everything with Barcelona, part of the greatest front line ever. And then he was at Liverpool with Sturridge.
That's one thing that, it's probably underappreciated at Liverpool as well, because of how absolutely pants that team was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Cack.
The fact they even
Proper
got
cack.
the fact that it got to a slip from Gerrard is mental. That they went that far with Brendan Rodgers is mental, and he did it on his own. Flip me, he scored against the Albion for fun.
Yeah, he did.
And
And
from
Norwich.
outside the box. Yeah, he scored against Norwich every week. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean about saying does it not. But I think of him. When I think of Suarez, I don't instantly think to the
No,
Premier
you
League.
don't
I
think
think Barcelona.
No, because Liverpool? Good God. Liverpool was essentially a stepping stone for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at the phase, as you said, the phase that team was in at the time, you had someone... Cause he went from Ajax, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, done one in the Dutch league, needed to test himself, excelled in a very average team, and then went on to accomplish
got the
everything he was
move.
actually capable of doing. So, in that perspective, underappreciated.
But he's come up against one of the serious hitters. So.
Yeah. The goal.
So, just to read you through the players that have gone. So we've lost Alan Shearer. We've lost Luis Suarez. We've lost Robin van Persie. Fernando Torres. Teddy Sheringham. Defoe. Andy Cole and Jamie Vardy.
Someone up.
Yeah.
Mm.
There are some big boys that missed out on this list, don't get
Yeah,
me
there
wrong.
is.
But there was a lot of...
Dropping Lukaku out of that list is
Lukaku, I tell you now, Lukaku does not make any of the lists.
No, because media don't.
Media
like
do
him.
not like him. If you go on anything, he does not make the top 20. Some of the players that were getting in ahead of him
That's mental.
blew my mind when
you
I was
look at
looking
it though,
through.
and all jokes to one side.
We're Lukaku lovers.
Oh, I was going to say,
podcast.
this podcast give him a lot of credit. There might be because there's an Albion bias as well.
I've
But
always
you-
said
but
I
you
think he's a fantastic footballer, and his career
Yes.
is very underrated.
Massively.
That Belgian record he's got now is mental. He's
The
like
Belgian
50 goals
record-
ahead of anyone, isn't he?
He's at his time at Everton. He would the ball would be fed into his feet, and he would just roll the centre half and bang it. What was it? 28 goals.
Something
It was-
And even his goal record at United, the way he
Yeah,
was treated at United was
he brilliant at
disgusting.
United.
Disgusting.
But yeah,
And then what he's gone on to do abroad as well. Yeah.
Oh, he's a winner. He's won a lot.
Scudetto winner now. So that's what, 3 Serie A's for him?
I think so, because he'd won one at Inter.
One at Inter.
Definitely won it.
Well, a minimum
One
of
at-
2.
Yeah, it's 2 for
So
definite.
two leagues, a double with Napoli this year.
Yeah, he'd have won.
Records for Belgium.
Did he win the Europa League with Man United? No, that would have been before him, wouldn't it? Oh no, was he Mourinho? Yeah, he'd won the
Yeah,
Europa
he won
League
the
with Man
Europa
United.
League with Mourinho.
He's probably
won the Club World Cup for Chelsea.
It's mad, isn't it?
So he scored in the final.
Got the trophy for the hat trick against Sir Alex on the last day as well, because we bring that up all the time. He's a goat. I love it. We'll go on to the next round then. We've got 8 players, but that's the reason why I would love to have put Lukaku in this list, but he doesn't make the list, so I couldn't put him in there because the whole point is that it's an unbiased list.
Well, there's
that
no
I've
media
created.
bias from us, so
Exactly.
Lukaku appreciation post.
Okay, then I've just randomly been placing these into the next 8, so it's just scattered. It's my random thought process. So pick a number between 1 and 8, and we'll pick the second round picks.
6.
Yep.
2.
Aguero versus Bergkamp.
Aguero.
Yeah, I'll let you have it.
I think it's got to be Aguero there. I think Aguero, again, from everything we've just spoken about, Bergkamp isn't on Aguero's level, I think, for what we're talking about for the Premier League.
Yeah.
And back to the point of impact, isn't it? I think Aguero impact is one of the best.
I think it's very similar actually, but
But Aguero was the the turning point for Man City, wasn't he? He was part of that first title winning side, wasn't he? The first, when he came in at Mancini, it was like they'd been trying to get that striker, and it was
but Bergkamp was the main reason for our first title.
No, I get
Premier
that
League title.
but then
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
as in like he then was the pin, was it the linchpin then? For it was built around him then for years, and they kept. Then how long did it take them to replace? They couldn't replace. They had to literally change the position, couldn't they? They literally could not replace the bloke.
They played without a striker
For
a year.
What did Pep? We saw Pep cried. Pep.
Oh, that was.
I knew that would get him on that every time.
You should have put that in your footballing, Nicks.
Ridiculous.
Managers
What did
crying
he
when
say?
players leave.
What did he say again? What was it?
You can't replace him.
That's it.
You can't replace him. We cannot replace him. Manchester City have now signed Erling Haaland. We've replaced him.
What an idiot.
Oh, sorry, I knew that would get him. Okay, then pick numbers between 1 and 8 again, please.
3.
8.
Haaland versus Ruud van Nistelrooy. We spoke about it. This is
the clash.
This is the two players that are very similar.
It's the poacher punch-up.
So really, we should come to you first, then, Matt. If we're talking poachers.
Yeah, look, after watching a lot of both the games, really, and relating it to myself, apart from the fact that I'm about a foot shorter than both of them.
You sat down. No one has any idea.
Yeah, again, it's a shame for Ruud, really, isn't it? But Haaland is just...
I think it is close.
It's closer than most people who probably listen to this pod would initially believe it to be.
I think when you sit back and actually think about it, then
Yeah.
it's closer. But
Because a lot of things these days, a lot of social media and that, recency bias is at its peak. So a lot of people just sort of look at his record-breaking sort of figures and go, wow, yeah, it's clear, and I don't think it's as clear as...
I'm a prime example of that. I'm recency bias FC. I love a bit of recency bias, but
Is Haaland on this
Haaland's record is out of this world. If you want what you look at, his goal scoring
I'm
record.
trying to find Haaland on this list.
He had 3 seasons, so he'd be on.
Oh, I thought he was on more than that, to be honest.
What, he'd have probably about
two
70?
seasons, eh?
85. I thought he'd be 100 already.
3 seasons, 85. But that's where it's mind blowing with Haaland. That we have turned our nose up at the fact he's got 85 goals in 3 Premier League seasons.
Yeah.
And this season
I
he's
thought
not
he-
played a full. You thought he was going to have 100. You thought like over 30 goals a season.
He got 36 in his first season.
Yeah. It's do you know what I mean? You
it's
can't.
It's Haaland,
But
isn't
we
it?
love. I'm glad we've given him a bit of credit. But yeah, it's Haaland is out of this world.
Yeah.
He's taken what Ruud's done and taken it a step further when we talk about
If
poachers.
the world was as it was now, and we were in that sort of Man United era with Ruud would be spoken about the way Haaland is being spoken about now.
Yeah.
There'd never be a week where you'd watch Match of the Day and his name wouldn't pop up
Yeah.
on the score sheet. So
Okay, we've got 1, 4, 5, and 7 left.
7.
Okay.
4.
You're just trying to keep Thierry
Oh
away from
my
everyone,
word!
aren't you?
No.
This is the battle that Mike's been waiting for. This is what he wanted to have. No, because he's going to smirk. He's going to enjoy this. So it's Harry Kane versus Thierry Henry. What are you going for, Mike?
Silly. I'm just staying out of it.
For context, if you're new, Mike is an Arsenal fan, by the way. Yeah, as much as we all... this is horrible, because I think this is closer again when you think about it.
Yeah.
Harry Kane is up there. He was one of the best. But I am with you. It is...
Yeah, really close.
Little
Man.
nibbly bibbly wibbly wobbly.
It is, for me, it would have to be Henry, but I do love Harry Kane, and I do think, again, he's going to be somebody that we'll look back at his Premier League career in years to come. I think he's one of those players, I think it's like similar to, when they retire and then we appreciate, which is a really weird thing. It's only when we reflect, isn't it, sometimes with footballers, when they start then putting the highlight reels up and what they actually achieved. Because what he did with that Spurs team, for such an awful team, the numbers he put up consistently is like, I think is an achievement in itself. But I still would go on Ray for me.
I almost forget how good he actually was.
Who? Sorry.
Henry.
Kane. Oh.
I was,
No,
it's-
Henry. And then when you get these, like Premier League games from
like Premier League
03,
years,
04
yeah.
or 04, 05 or whatever. Yeah. Premier League years, that's the one. It'll show a game. And he was just so like ahead of his time. And when me and Joe watched his episode of The Overlap,
So good.
belly full of Chinese and a few pints, and we barely spoke. You're drawn in by him. It was like we tried to farm some of his aura. It is Henri. I do feel bad for Azabazada.
No, but but yeah, as you said, for what he did in such a bad team, Harry Kane is incredible. But it's got to be Henri.
Yeah.
When we talk about, because I was thinking this recently, if you were to pitch the Premier League and have like, you know, with the NBA, you have like the main players that are like the face of it. Like people think of the people that represent the brand to people that have never. Yeah, it'd be LeBron James. Yeah, like it would be as perfect. That was really good. But do you know what I mean? Like he is the brand. Like right now, Henri is that for the Premier League. Like I look at it. If you were to give it to somebody who doesn't watch football, it would be Henri. You've got him there. You probably got him. That was a really good reference. That was a really good reference. But yeah, I'm agreement with Henri. Okay, then the final battle. Is,
you bang on there. He's the
he's the
face.
face of the Premier League, and to still be the face of the Premier League now,
Yeah.
is mental. And great Twitter highlights. That's all
that matters to you.
Exactly. If you've got great Twitter highlights, then you're a great player. Sorry, it has to.
My favourite Twitter highlight isn't even him scoring a goal. It's him taking the ball to the corner in the Bernabeu,
Unreal.
hopping over people, standing there, shrugging them off.
Because the camera angles they've got of that is mental.
It's phenomenal.
It seems like it's really ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or the Danny Mills one in the corner.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Okay then.
Essence.
The final battle is Didier Drogba versus Wayne Rooney.
Rooney.
Yeah.
Rooney, we didn't touch on too much earlier because he breezed through the first round. But the thing I always struggle with these lists with Rooney is because he didn't always play as a striker, did he? Which I think doesn't help him in these lists.
But he was.
He was. No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. But as in, I think that damages that when you're in the debates of strikers, it hasn't helped him.
It's testimony to him as a player that he was so capable of playing out on the left, dropping deeper, orchestrating play, all that sort of stuff. But for an out-and-out striker sort of thing, it can tarnish in that sense. But
we've got him through, so that's the main thing. And I love Drogba and things, and we talk about him as a striker. I know his goal scoring record isn't out of this world, but this is when we talk about when we take it all as a collective.
Yeah.
Big game player.
He would
Horrible.
manhandle centre halves. Great link-up player.
And
And
Chelsea
when you've got
compare every striker to him. They've never really replaced. They've had Costa. They had Costa for a bit, but he still never hit the height. And that's why I always think that's like a testament to a player when every striker they get, it's the new Drogba.
Yeah.
It's the regen of Drogba because they can't. They can't replace him.
Yeah.
And I think that's always like a testament to him. But okay, then we've got our final four. Some big boys in there. Phew, where's that? Matt, would you like to pick a number?
Uno.
Dos.
That's 1 and 2, yeah. I was thinking, I was just doing it in my head. Aguero versus Wayne Rooney. No matter what these choices were, it's going to be horrible. So, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I didn't hear what you just said, but
Rooney.
I'm going Aguero.
No. Oh, I was going to say. I thought you were going to shirk it then and go back to.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to stand on it. Stand on it. Stand on business. Is that what you say?
Stand on business.
Stand on that. Yeah. I don't know what that meant. Aguero. Yeah. It feels horrible, but I'm thinking of. Again, I'm going back with that flag of underappreciated Aguero because I'm obsessed with him.
First thought would be Rooney, but I want you both to convince me the arguments, and then I'll make my judgment.
Do you want to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I'm intrigued, actually. Go on.
Oh,
You go-
because
you
I
go
was,
first.
I was just stumbling to give myself more time.
But
Yeah,
I-
no, that's what
We've
I
already
thought.
spoke about both of them and how good they've been, and so I know all about them. But I want you to tell me why he's better than Rooney, and I want you to tell me why he's better than Aguero.
This is like, I've never liked being in this seat. This is why I like being the host of a
He
podcast.
spoke- he
You went
spoke-
too early.
No, I did, yeah. I just should have gone
He
Rooney.
spoke about Aguero being the catalyst and the focal point for City and the foundations for that. Rooney was literally the heartbeat of United during an era where as he was coming through, some of the greats were starting to peter out, really, and he took on the mantle, which is why I think he dropped that little bit deeper and was a little bit versatile, and in some instances dragged the team with him. Was always a standout through the lower parts of some very stinky United teams,
Yeah,
and still produced and
Everton
still
Derby, yeah.
and was able
Jones.
to maintain the standards that were set for him by the likes of Keane and those who had at that point, as the years went on, departed.
I'm glad you left it, Keane.
My only counter to that, I think if it was a discussion on actual player who was a better player, Rooney would be top of most of my list, because I think as a complete footballer he's absolutely out of this world and can play in all positions and things. But I think Aguero is arguably one of the greatest Premier League strikers. When we talk about like natural born finishers, we don't think of him as the likes of your Haalands and things, because Aguero was incredible in the box. He was ridiculous, great in the air, incredible fox in the box, scored every type of goal, link up play and things. But because he was so good at everything and encompassed everything that was good as a striker for such a small, stocky kind of hold up play, absolutely everything, nasty, had everything, scored every type of goal. I think that's why we don't put him on the level of the likes of Rooney's and stuff and those discussions, because he did it all, and his goal scoring record speaks for himself. Literally played until he could barely run towards the end. I know obviously he went to Barcelona and things, but towards the end of City it got to a point where he wasn't making the runs he used to be. But if you look at his goal scoring record season in, season out, it's 20 plus goals every season, winning titles with that Man City side, and he was the reason, he was the first kind of the changing point in that Man City side. Yes, I understand he didn't do it on a Champions League ball, but I think as an actual striker, so complete, but wasn't as good a player. I think Rooney was a better player, but as an actual striker, I'd have Aguero every time. I look at him as a whole, just everything you want. Link-up players said, technically gifted, would do absolutely everything. I just remember how many times, and you can think of so many moments that he had, he was just again inevitable. You just knew he was going to score regardless, and a player that could go missing in games but would just be there, and I just loved that about
See,
him.
Rooney would rarely go missing. And if you're talking about moments,
I like this.
I quite enjoy
I
this,
understand
yeah,
why
yeah.
you do
If-
this.
if you
Just
talk-
it's good,
sit
yeah.
on the fence.
if
It's
you're
nice.
talking about moments,
I don't enjoy doing this though. I don't
there's,
like
there's
that.
more moments that jump out for Rooney than there is Aguero. Aguero has got the biggest moment overall, but you think an amalgamation of moments, Rooney's sort of catalogue springs to mind a lot quicker than Aguero's does. You're talking, being injured and then
Do you want-
sprinting 25 yards up to absolutely thunder smash one in the top bins against Newcastle, overhead kick against City. You talk about a person who
Scuffed
can
it.
do.
I'm just-
You talk about a player who can do it all,
And
instinctively do it all.
And Mike's now finding the side of what I have to do. When you don't know either, it's horrible sometimes sitting on the fence, because then you have to actually make the deciding vote. When
I think I've
realistically,
made my decision.
I'll
say
give you one more point as
Oh,
well, and this is
oh,
a very, very
then
short point.
Go.
Skinhead Rooney.
Incredible player, to be fair.
I've made my decision.
Just
Dum, dum,
go for it.
dum. And I completely agree with your point, Sam, that Rooney is the better player. But in terms of strikers, I'm going Aguero.
Oh, you can't! You can't!
You can. Oh, can I just say, please don't ever make me do it again. I don't think I've ever sweated as much. I hate being in the sport. But again,
It can't
back
get any
to-
worse than this.
Oh, it can. Thank you. But I love Rooney.
Yeah, I do.
I think we need to do a list now of the players. We'll do a Premier League list, like all-time Premier League players where we can get in your likes of Rooney and go in for those players that are so like great in all over the place kind of things. Get your likes of Gerrard's in there, or the players that we could do
sad.
But you got
I don't want to pod anymore.
well, the final battle is Haaland versus Henry. And I've done enough debating, so I'm sitting on the side because I hate
On the
that.
contrary, I've not been on the fence once.
Never do.
So depending on what your guys' answers are,
Thierry Henry is my answer.
yeah.
And it's Sam's answer as well.
I
He's
think
just
he
being
knows.
silly.
cop out.
No, I'm trying to make for good podding. How can I argue? How can I try and play devil's
In
advocate?
terms of comparison of players, they're two quite different players as well. Again,
I think the only way we could this debate right now, I'm Henry. Now, I think the only way this could become more of a discussion is in time.
Yeah.
I think it's too early for
you,
Haaland.
that is such a politician's answer.
No, but it's in because I think it's too early for Haaland to be in the bracket of comparing him with one of the greats.
The great.
That's what I'm saying. This is like one of. Well, I don't want to spoil. We've got another round. Yet.
Everyone knows.
We've got another round yet, Mike. We need to keep people listening.
Can we just relay some facts? What sort of records Henry's got?
Yeah.
I know obviously Haaland broke the record in his first year, and
You want Henry's Premier League record or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
overall accomplishments?
oh, do you know what? Chuck them all in, why not?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll start off with Premier League. So
For the sake of the content.
we might as well. So he won the Golden Boot 4 times.
Henry.
Henry did,
Yep.
yeah. He won Player of the Season twice, 2-time Premier League champion and 4-time Premier League Player of the Month winner. Breakdown of his goal scoring record. He scored over 20 goals in 5 seasons. He scored over 20 goals, and one of those he got 30. 3 seasons he scored 17 goals as well. Scored 175 goals in 258 games, 74 assists as well.
Yeah, fair.
It's, I think, but I know you were saying it's a politician answer, but I think Haaland, because when you're comparing somebody, because the thing is with Henry, it's not even just elite for a small period of time, it's elite for a serious longevity.
Yeah.
And to get into the bracket with, because some of the battles that Haaland's had, like if we're going to talk about some of the greats, I think he's got to do it for longer to before we can kind of discuss on that. That's what I was saying. I know it sounds
It's probably harsh on him. He has to be in the list,
But
Yeah.
like,
because of what he's done
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
you
harsh.
can't be the best ever from 3 seasons.
No.
Yeah. It's only like Yamal, when Yamal's getting comparisons already to other wingers, you're just like, hold up,
Relax.
wait a minute, let's just
Yeah.
calm down a bit. But I think Haaland will, if he stays in the Premier League, will get into the brackets where these discussions can be
Yeah.
had, because he's, as we said, he will break records and he will carry on breaking records because he's that type of bloke.
Yeah.
But it's
Right,
not
no,
as...
send Tezza through then.
Yeah, so our final battle is Henry versus Aguero. And I'm really proud of Aguero because I feel like we, as a whole, the fact that... So we've got Aguero coming to the final, by the way. Only 2 lists got him in the top 5. Most lists had him 6th, 7th.
And now he's going to win it. All right, okay, maybe not.
You didn't want him through to the final?
No, isn't he against my,
No,
my Wazza Razza?
No, I know. But yeah, but as I said, for me, it'll always be Henry. And I think...
Until it's not, it's always on me.
But using the arguments, basically exactly the same arguments you put against me against Rooney, can be applied in this situation.
I think it can, but the only difference that I'd throw back is Henry was an incredible player, but was an incredible striker and did everything that I've compared with Aguero.
I think they're kind of very similar. Henry's probably a bit more creative, but Aguero had
That's what I'm saying. It's in
that
the same...
bit in him as well, that he's not just a striker. He had that driving force that put the team on your back. Technical ability, passing, both feet. He had that kind of similar to Henry, but it's probably just missing the creativity and the physicality of Henry.
But I think you've got Henry's just so smooth,
and the aura,
and there is aura. Again, just to reference that overlap episode on a podcast where everyone's very vocal and very outspoken and likes to chip in and make a joke and all that. You've got Roy Keane, Ian Wright, Jill Scott, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, barely any of them spoke. He literally spoke for the entire. I don't know if you've listened to it yet,
It's
or you've
amazing.
watched it, but they literally sit there and he commands the room
Yeah.
and guides the conversation effortlessly.
And then just another thing to add, we touched on it before. I know this is a Premier League thing, but like we said, Aguero kind of gets diminished for only doing it really domestically.
Yeah.
Henry's the opposite. You look at his CV and he's won everything. Champions League, World Cup, Euros, played a big role in all of it. I know this is just a Premier League list,
Back to another.
but he was he was,
Well, he arrived as a World
the
Cup
best.
winner, didn't
He
he?
was the best player in the world, really, at that time.
Did he ever win the Ballon d'Or?
No, Nedved did.
There's the Nedved conversation about whether it was. That's considered. That's up there with the Lewandowski like robbery thing. Those are the two that always get discussed because he was at he won it at Juve, or was it? Did he win it at Lazio?
He won it at Juve.
He won it at Juve. That would have been that. Yeah, because I remember. I've read it's a good read actually when
Yeah,
you read
yeah.
about why, because Nedved had a great season, but there's the comparison about the robbery kind of thing. It's worth a read if you haven't read that, by the way, listeners. But there we go, we've crowned the champion, Thierry Henry. Congratulations! But I think I have to admit, I thoroughly enjoyed that in the sense of I feel like we've had it's been some really weird matchups that have happened. Some big boys gone out early, but I feel like we all discussed and debated this again. We followed on. Really, really like just enlightening thoughts and debates and
Good
discussions.
ball knowledge.
Yeah, this was a thoroughly enjoyable episode, boys. So much appreciated. If you haven't already, give us a 5-star review. You pipe down because people hear that bird in the background.
It's all right. He's just tweeting about us.
Yes, yeah, good. I don't even know where to go. Wait, hey,
Shut up.
go down, hey. But we will speak to you guys very soon, and we'll see you for another week. And please send in some ideas because, as we said, you decide what goes on, and I haven't planned any of July's episodes yet, so
Wow.
that's my job for tomorrow. So thank you, boys, and we will see you. Oh, actually, before we go, quick question.
No.
The question for this week's episode that I forgot to ask you in the first episode, but we'll do it now. What is the best football boot of all time?
Ooh.
Adidas Copa Mundials.
Do you like the regens?
That's
of
very
them?
1970s answer.
Do you like any of the colour spin-offs they've done, or is it just plain?
The all whites.
Ooh, I did not have you down for that.
The all whites, because the writing is still in gold. But if you put a pair of like all white Adidas Copa Mundials on a player who's like black shorts, black socks, all white Adidas Coppers.
Yeah.
Woo, Lord.
Yeah. What are yours?
I really don't know.
Mine.
Because is it like my favourite boot?
Well, you can discuss
or
it
is
both.
it what I think is like the best looking boot?
Do
like,
both.
and
You can do
professional?
both.
Oh,
Do
okay.
both. Yeah, you may as well answer both.
My favourite boot by far, and not but actual wearing, and because of the type of players, and it was the CTR 360s.
I love them. White and yellow were for me.
100%.
I preferred the white and yellow ones of those.
Any
were my favourite boot
colourway
I ever had.
The black and red, the black and white, the black and yellow.
Yeah.
There were the Nike Mercurials, but not the Vapors. The ones... Sorry, no, not the Mercurial ones. What were they? Were they the...
I don't know what
it's-
players are wearing them. What era are we
Henry,
talking?
white, gold at the back. You know, where it was like a base
They were
colour,
Mercurials.
and they started to fade in.
Faded like the
Yeah,
dot
yeah,
Mercurial
yeah.
then.
But they did so many colourways of that, and then when the 2010 World Cup come
They
out,
did, like,
they
the
did
silver
their own-
and orange
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. And they sort of brought them
Oh,
back
the
to
silver
that.
orange one. Yeah, because
that World Cup
Sorry.
was class because they brought out all the same colourway in all the boots, didn't they?
Yeah.
Nike.
The CTRs, the Vapor,
Yeah.
the Vapors,
Tiempos.
Tiempos, and then they started to escalate to the Vapors with the big Nike tick down the side. But no, the original
Yeah.
Mercurials. With the
That's a
little-
really good shout.
For appearance wise, I've got to shout out the Ronaldinho Tiempos.
Yeah.
Any colourway.
Crossbar
but,
advert.
But the navy ones with the gold.
I remember when I was
the
younger.
tongue.
I remember my dad used to coach with a pair of those. I used to think it was so rascal, but now looking back, fully respected it at the
Yeah,
time. But I
yeah.
remember this, as a kid, I was thinking, "Why are you coaching in them? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Looking back, incredible boots they were. Love them. They were yes. I love a lot of the Tiempos. To be fair, I think a Tiempo is a really underrated boot.
Yeah, I'd love Tiempo.
Very
But
underrated.
Just a fold over tongue. Like the Predators.
Yeah.
The Predators back in the day when you had Gerrard and Beckham and everyone wearing
Yeah,
them.
and like I think was it the 2006 World Cup, they re-released them with the new style because it used to be like the thicker stripes. But they re-released them, and they did the sort of the white and gold, still with the fold over tongue.
Yeah.
White and blue, the old school black red.
Yeah.
With the white. And on the inside, for like the curl point.
Yeah, I
You
know
had
exactly
like-
what you
you had
mean.
like the bit of rubber.
Yeah.
The bit that
it'd
stuck
say,
out, you
yeah,
think,
it'd
yeah,
say
oh my
like
word.
Predator. So you'd have the white ones with the blue, and then they'd have like the blue stars in the. Oh, yeah.
So you said
Adidas,
so the
Elite.
Vapors. You think of who did you say again? Sorry, who was the player?
Henri.
Vapors Henri.
Yeah.
CTRs. Who's the first player you think of then?
Fabregas.
Yes.
Good shout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Captain of
Fabregas.
Arsenal in the Premier League, wearing
Yeah.
the CTR 360s.
I got the white and yellow ones because Wilshere wore them. When Wilshere first wore the white and yellow
Yeah.
ones, I wanted a pair
Yeah.
when I was young. I remember him breaking through. I was like, I want them. Predators. First player you think of then?
Beckham.
Yeah.
Gerrard.
Oh yeah, because he wore the
The black
black ones,
and
didn't
white,
he? Yeah,
and then Beckham, I always remember the blue ones. I had a pair of them.
Oh yeah, blue and silver were they?
yeah,
With
yeah.
a bit of red in there.
And then back to the Copa Mundials. Then who are you thinking? Like what players are we?
There's only one. Oh no, Copa Mundial. I'm thinking Copa.
If you were thinking,
Copa-
what,
Well,
I'm thinking Tony Cruz with the
That's the
Adi Pures.
Copa.
That's the Adi Pures.
Yeah.
So the only reason why this conversation came about is because we saw there was a player wearing the Coppers, weren't they, at the charity tournament? And we were all discussing how nice a boot they were, and it started off the cruise kind of chat and things. I'm trying to think who'd be wearing the. I loved again. Now we're going a bit Puma Kings because of Jonas Olsen. I love the Puma Kings. Puma Kings were class, unreal boot.
Puma. Do you remember that phase players went through of wearing two different boots?
Yeah.
Two different coloured boots. So then Puma designed
They released one.
a pink one and then a lime green
Aguero
one.
wore them, didn't he?
Aguero,
wore them,
Balotelli always sticks out.
Yeah, that like
Yeah.
that era when every Puma athlete had like the it was like blue and pink, wasn't it? And things there, all
Yeah.
different variations.
But
Horrible.
yeah, the Omri ones, the Nikes with the Omri always stick out. Burgundy shirt,
Oh, yeah,
long
those
sleeve,
burgundy
tucked
ones
in,
with the silver and the
socks
white.
high, and then white boots. Ooh, Lord.
I hated the Puma ones as well. You know that they did before they did the one boot and the other one being the opposite. They did the inside of the boot being one colour and the outside of the boot being the other. So when they ran, it looked like they were different boots. It was horrible. Oh, I'm now thinking of each like World Cup now.
I was just thinking that.
Do you remember 2014 when they did the white and it'd be so every range of the Nike boots? It was like they released like. It'd be like white with the pink on the back, or it'd be white with all the defenders wore white and black, all the wingers wore white and pink, and the strikers
What
had
was
like
the
white
one-
and blue.
No, I don't. That silver and orange one. I don't think that was 2010. That must have been another one because it wasn't 2010 when they brought out like the bright yellow F50s and it literally had like F50 written.
No,
on
it was the
No,
silver.
that was the silver ones.
silver and
the
orange.
Silver ones for the.
What
for
was
World
that? Then
Cup.
was that 2014?
Yeah, because wasn't it? Because it was Brazil 2014.
Brazil, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the bright yellow.
But there was.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
I can't remember what the other ones. I can just remember the yellow F50s.
That the 2010 World Cup was just. It had the vuvuzelas,
Yeah.
Jabulani ball,
that
yeah.
was the
but
best.
like boots made specifically to tally in with it. Oh, Spain at their peak.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I
I
remember.
don't know. I'm wrong.
I'm trying to think. 2014 was that the?
England 0-0 against Algeria. Come on.
It's 2012. I'm thinking of actually was the half and half boots.
Oh, the
2012 when the Euros when all the
Oh,
Spain team
look
had
at
the
that
half white
picture.
half. Which one are you? Which one are you?
The 2010. Look at
Yeah, that's it. That's
yeah,
the ones
yeah,
Matt's on
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, good shout. Those
Yeah.
are really good.
Yeah.
beautiful.
There we go. So any others before we finish off? Because I thought we'll get that in before we close off. Because I thought it's a good question.
Good honourable mention. The original T90s. The one where the 90 would be on the inside of the boot.
Yep.
Silver, red circle, and then white.
Who do
90.
you think of with the first player?
Rooney.
Rooney. Yeah, that's the same for me. Instantly every time.
And then even when they moved on to the next model, with like the leather down the
Yeah.
front, Rooney
Still Rooney. Yeah.
and Torres for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ones with the rubber down the inside. Yeah.
There we go, guys.
Oh, I'm
When the
all
starts
warm
came,
and
that
was
fuzzy
nice.
and
Thank you,
Yeah.
and please give us a 5-star review, and we'll see you guys soon. Comment down below your favourite boots as well. Thank you, boys. See ya.